On today's Church TechCast Screencast show, the right way and the wrong way to add backgrounds in ProPresenter 5. The ChurchTechCast.com Screencast show is generously provided for by viewers like you. Thank you. Head on over to patreon.com/PaulAllenCliff, that's patreon.com/PaulAllenClif, and you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Every little bit helps, so head over and help out today. Well, this show is actually a result of a question that someone had. So if you have questions, just head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/contact, and you can leave your questions there. You can find my email address, which is paul@trinitydigitalmedia.com. My phone number, 1-877-763-3246 or 1-877-POD-ECHO. Really hope no one's dead. Just heard some screaming. Also, you can contact me at Twitter, Paul Allencliff, PaulAllanclif. And, of course, leave comments below the video. That's fine, too. So, I got a question here. Let me see if I can't just find that question, and we'll go from there, because that's how I came up with this idea for the show. And we'll go, let's see here. Basically, I'll spoil it for you, that she was trying to edit a song and said that the background was locked. Here, let's see here. Background lock from Carol Hare. Okay, so Carol says, I'm trying to change the background, but some songs have been locked. How do I unlock these backgrounds to set new backgrounds? So I've never locked a background, so it could be that I'm misunderstanding the question, but let's take a look over at ProPresenter and see what we can find out about what you might mean. So, okay, so here we are over in ProPresenter 5, and what I have gone ahead and done is I've gone ahead and I've selected a song and I've brought it up in the editor. Now there's more to the editor. Here, I can move it over here because we really don't need to see the other part right now. So that's what I see here. Here, let me move this up. The correct way to add a background to a song is just to, here down in the video image bin, click backgrounds and then select your background, and then that will do it. But that's not what they've done. In fact, see, so if you did that, you would see that you've got the background. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and clear the background so that it doesn't slow down everything. So what I suspect that they have done is over here in the editor view, adding a background. So that can be done really easily. Let's say it could absolutely be either, it could be a live video. Let's choose my camera here. And so this could be your background. Let's see if that works, because that's the same camera I'm using over here in Wirecast. So I kind of suspect that this wouldn't work exactly. Okay, so let's click show over here. This might slow things down just a bit. And let's go over here and see if that, yep. So you can see that it, in fact, as soon as it updates over here in the live view, I might have caused a picture, and it's very, so that's no good whatsoever. Let me clear that. Just going to click here and clear the slides altogether. So that is one thing that you could have added. I'm going to actually delete that now. Okay. So let's make it a little easier, since the machine that I'm using is running ProPresenter and streaming and doing a bunch of stuff, so it probably doesn't need anything too hard to be done right now. So we're going to add a picture to the background here. Again, this is the wrong way. Okay, so now we see this. Let's see if I can't find. Okay, so here's the TARDIS background that I have on my desktop. We'll just add that. Now when I close this down and I pull this over here, you can see that if I select this particular slide and then I select this background, apparently nothing happens. Now on the screen you see this background, but you'll also notice that even though this is a still, we've got this moving timeline right here, and that is because behind this still we have this background down here. So if I were to click on the next slide, you'd see that actually it went away. And that's because this isn't actually a background, it's actually a foreground image, but it's a foreground image that completely eclipses this. So if all the slides had that as a background image, then you'd be in trouble. Now, there are very good reasons to do that. Let's say it's a very light background and you don't like that you can see, you couldn't see the text on the black background here. So that might be a good reason to do this. We had at our recovery ministry at my church, we had a very light pastel-y. I know they were trying to go for growth and getting better kind of background, but with white text you really couldn't see it, so that wasn't a good choice. So let's go back and let's right click on this. Actually, first let me clear the background here so that this doesn't do this. And let's right click and go for edit slide. Now what we want to do is we want to select that here. If we selected this, you'd see this is where the text box is. Here, let me slide this over a bit. Okay, you'd see that we see the text box now, but that is actually, as we're looking, the text box, the text layer, which if you need to know more about layers, last week's show was all about that. But the text layer is actually below this picture layer. So you could add text all day and you would never see it because it's below this picture. So we need to click the picture first, and then that means that we're over here. Now we need to make sure that we have that highlighted and hit the delete button. That's the delete backspace kind of button. If you're on Windows, it's marked backspace. If you're on Mac, it's marked delete, and it means the same as backspace. So do that, and that would solve your problem. Now let's say that this image was light, as I said, and that's why they were put all the way through here. That's not the right way to do that. The right way to fix that problem is right over here. You see this where it says background? First you want to check that, and next you want to put in a light background. So the reason that you would do this is that um, the background you're using from the background selector is a light background. So when you do this here, this isn't the background that everyone sees. This is the background that you as the presenter see. So you would need to go through here and change this. Let me pull that up so that you can see it to white. So there you go. Since I've got an outline on this text, you can still read that. But let's say we had a really light background and we had dark text. In fact, let's make this text dark. I think over here we'll do it. Okay, so if I now I can go and I can change it to black, and I can change the outline to white. And you see here that we have black text and a white outline. So that looks much better with the white background. Whereas if I go back over here and I change the background, oops, wrong one. If I change the background from white back to black, the only reason you can see that is because of the outline. So that makes it kind of difficult when the thumbnails are really small. So that's why you would change this background over here. Remember, this doesn't affect what you actually see. And let me actually prove that to you. So this first one right here, let's go to that. I think I must have lied to you. Here, let's put this background on here and let's change that and let's go back here. Yeah. So it would only affect it if you don't have anything, if you don't have a video background or another background selected in the video image bin. So I was half right on that. So that's why I would do that. I would do it if I had a lighter background. So you see how this actually works whenever this lighter piece is here. Now let's go to the regular. You see that actually works fine with this particular background. This is the default one that ships with ProPresenter. So in this particular case, it's not as necessary, but you might think of situations where you do have problems. Again, another reason that you would do this here, let me right click, go to edit slide again, and let's say that another reason is that someone likes to edit the backgrounds and they do a horrible job at it, or you just don't want that to be an option. So what you could do, this will work particularly well on stills. If you do it on videos, it will change with each background or with each slide. So this probably wouldn't be a good solution for that, but because it would start over again. But what you could do is you could, again, let's change that back. Okay. So the default is black. You only need to check this when you're changing that. And let's change this text back to the way that you only have to click that when you're changing it from black. The default is black. Sorry, that was off the screen. So then let's change this text back from black. back to the default white. And again, remember that I also changed the outline, and that's why it looks all yucky. That's the technical scientific term, yucky. So I'm going to go right back there. It's actually that the outline has a little softness to it, so it's not a pure stroke like you would see in Photoshop. So let's say, as I say, that you have someone that likes to change the backgrounds and they do a poor job of it. So you could add the background right here and continue and do the same thing. Now you'll notice here that this causes a problem, and we're going to fix that problem. Okay, so what problem is that? The background's now in front of the text, so what we do is we go over here to the second tab here and press the little down arrow on the background or press the little up arrow on the text. Either way, let's actually pushing it on the text. So you see that? Apparently, now when you do that, it's the same. So you can do that, no problem. But let's say instead what you want to do is you want to put like a, here, let me clear this background here. Let's say instead what you want to do is instead of a full screen, what you want is like a themed lower third or something like that. So if you wanted to do that, you could again go over here, select this particular layer, and let's, sorry, I grabbed the text by mistake. That's something that you can do if you're not careful. So I always click on the outside of that. And let's move that up. Let's see, it wants to be constrained. So it doesn't want to shrink, and I actually want it to. So let's see if I can figure out how to do that. It seems like that's a setting here that I can control. I don't need it there. Not. Okay, apparently I can't do that here. So what you would want to do in this case is you would want to create that especially for this situation. Yeah, let me make sure that I can work with this, and I'm going to make this bigger again. But this time I'm going to actually move it up. Okay. Now I'm going to actually had both of them selected there, the text and the background. So I could do something like that where I can have, let me get out of that editing. So I could make a top third in Photoshop in this case. And then when I do that, I can have this background with the top third on top of that. So you see how I did that? That's really junky looking, and I'd never do that in real life. But I just wanted to illustrate the point that this is a way to do something like that. So that is kind of the right way and the wrong way, and it really depends on your situation. But if you encounter a presentation that someone else has made, and it's the case that, like in the case here, where you have this solid background, and no matter how often you put on the background video, it doesn't override it, it feels like it's locked, it's probably the case that it's on that particular slide. So you just need to remove it from that particular slide. So right click, edit, click on the image, make sure you click outside of where the text is, and then backspace or delete depending on what your keyboard says. And there you go. That made it go away, and we can do the same thing over here. Only we need to make sure that we click on the image and backspace. You see how that works? So now that doesn't take effect until I go back over here and click on it, and look, there's the background I put in. So that is the right way and the wrong way to add backgrounds. Again, depends on your situation, but you should know if you can't affect it, it's probably on the slide itself. And that's how you remove it. And I hope that that will enable you to use ProPresenter a little bit better as you're going out and changing eternity. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with Trinity Digital Media.com.